Hey guys, Tuckz here, professional Fortnite player for TT9. I've been competing for the past 3 years where I've attended events such as the Fortnite World Cup, ESL Katowice, and TwitchCon. In my videos, I hope to use my insight and experience to help you choose the best gear for you. Let's jump into the video. So today we're looking at the Artisan Zero. Artisan is a Japanese company that makes esports mousepads. And this mousepad is known to be extremely long-lasting, resistant to humidity, and have unparalleled stitch edges. These stitch edges don't interfere with gameplay, but I'm going to go more into detail on that later in the video. And Artisan Zero is also mostly commonly thought to be one of Artisan's best first choice mousepads. The reason for this is because it most closely falls in line with a slower cloth pad such as your GSRSE or your Glorious cloth pad. So every Artisan mousepad comes in either an extra soft, soft, or mid variant. Now this does slightly depend on which material you go for, as if you go for the Heian, the soft is actually not as soft as a Zero from my finding. But for the Zero, I would probably say that either the soft or mid variant is going to be perfect. The soft, in my opinion, is already quite soft, so you do get a lot of stopping power. However, for me, I think a mid variant might be best, and I am going to try and order one when they next come in stock. It's just for me, I feel like the mid variant might be better in the Zero, purely because the mousepad is so soft and has such a great amount of stopping power. Sometimes when I apply a lot of pressure to the mousepad, I do feel like the mouse can sometimes get a little bit stuck. Now this is just personally for me because I'm so heavy-handed and I'm also used to those faster mousepads now that I tend to be used to putting more pressure on my mouse. So if you're someone like me who's a bit more heavy-handed or know that they apply a lot more pressure to their mouse, I might recommend looking towards a Zero mid more over a Zero soft or extra soft. I probably personally would recommend staying away from the extra soft on the Zero variant just because I feel like that would be extremely soft, whereas something on like a Heian or a Hayate, the extra soft isn't actually as soft, and it's due to the weave and the texture. The Zero is an extremely comfortable cloth pad in my opinion. This is due to the foam being slightly more soft than your usual mouse pads, and also the texture being non-abrasive and very comfortable. If you come from a usual cloth pad, you're only going to see benefits with this pad in terms of comfort, so I highly recommend it. If you've looked at Artisan mouse pads before, you already know that the stitched edges and bases are extremely good. What I'll show in the video here is that you'll see that my mouse actually does not even hit the stitched edges, so you'll just glide off to the table, and also the base does not even budge on my desk. Now I have got a laminated wood desk, which is probably going to be a more preferred surface, but I have no doubt that the soft and extra soft variants are going to be extremely good for most surfaces. However, I would be careful with the mid base, as some people even use water to actually stick it down to their desk. So in my collection, I would say the Artisan Zero definitely feels closest to the GSRSE. The GSRSE feels a little bit smoother to the touch, but on your mouse they feel about the same. But the Zero's extra stopping power and lower static friction definitely make it a better performing pad for myself personally, and it also is going to stay longer lasting and also consistent for much longer. And when you wash the pad, it's not going to feel drastically different. This is great for if you want a really consistent cloth pad that's going to stay the same for a much longer period of time. The mousepad is also known to last between 1 and 3 years depending on how you take care of the mousepad. If you keep it clean and make sure that you're regularly cleaning it every couple months, it will last up to 3 years. Now, this mousepad is definitely on the slower end of mousepads. It's more closely in line with your GSRSE or your Glorious mousepads. But what they've done is they've actually fine-tuned this mousepad to give it a lower static friction and more stopping power compared to those usual cloth pads. There are a few downsides to this mousepad, which I'm going to go over now. Firstly, the mousepad is quite expensive at around £60 getting shipped to the UK. It depends on where you're ordering it to, but the mousepad is this expensive, partly because it's already slightly higher than your usual cloth pad price on the website, but not by too much. But it's mainly because of the shipping costs and import tax, which does ramp up the price quite extensively. And secondly, unfortunately for this pad, it does catch quite a few hairs, and this is quite noticeable even after a month of use. I have noticed that the pad looks quite used, even though I have kept it, very clean and been taking care of it. As you'll see in my footage, you can quite clearly see that the mousepad does look a little bit more dirty than even the Hayate or Heian. Fortunately though, this does not affect the performance of the mousepad, and if you clean it or use a lint roller, you will be able to get most of this out, but definitely not everything. And it does also quite easily catch dust. So if you want a mousepad that's going to look, brand new or near brand new in 6 months to a year's time, I don't think this is the pad for you. And the final con with the pad is kind of a pro and a con with the pad, and that's because of the insane stopping power. Sometimes it can feel a little bit too slow, and this is when you apply pressure to the mousepad. I partially think this is because the soft is quite soft, and the pad having an already insane stopping power. Both of those combined together do sometimes make the pad feel quite slow when you apply pressure, so maybe you might want to go with a mid, and that's what I think I'm going to get next. It's just a real shame to me because Artisan mousepads are so good, but they're just so hard to get, and they're also so expensive with the shipping costs. Like, Artisan mousepads definitely put every other mousepad to shame when it comes to quality and how long they last. But because of how hard they are to get, you know, they sell out on their website in a couple hours. And just because of, you know, the extra costs that come along with that as well and the wait time, they're really hindering themselves as a business. And if they could find a way of scaling themselves up and making it, you know, more Western market friendly, you know, they definitely be a top 5 mousepad easily on the market. And you could recommend almost any mousepad for someone. You know, if you want something slower, you go with the Zero. If you want something faster, a Heian or a Hayateatsu. And if you want something that's blazing fast, then go with a Raiden or a Shirenkai. It's just really annoying that I can't recommend it to everyone because of the lack of, you know, availability and the high prices. So guys, that is my review of the Artisan Zero. Like I said in the video, it's hard to recommend because of how hard they are to get and also how expensive they are, but I would still definitely recommend this mousepad or even other Artisan mousepads to people who are looking for the top performance, have the cash to spare, and are maybe going into esports and stuff like that, because these mousepads are just so consistent. You're definitely going to be performing your best on these. It's just really annoying that I can't recommend it to, you know, like a casual consumer. But yeah, anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said at the start, you know, like the video if you like the video, hit the dislike if you dislike it, and hit the sub if you love it, and hit the notification bell. Do all the usual YouTube stuff, you know. It really does help me out, and it really gets my channel off the ground. But yeah, anyway, have a good rest of your day, guys. Much love, and peace out.